In the chaos of World War II, we remember tanks, planes and rifles, but a far humbler object quietly shaped the fate of millions: wax paper. Wax paper wasn't just food packaging, it became a tool for survival, keeping matches dry, providing insulation, and offering hope. This humble sheet became a symbol of the inventive spirit of the common soldier. Sometimes the smallest things make the biggest difference. World War II demanded new ways to feed fast-moving armies. The answer? The K-Ration, a compact box of calories and hope. Designed by Ansel Keys, each K-Ration provided a day's worth of food in 3 small boxes. Inside biscuits, canned meat or cheese, fruit bars, and instant coffee. All carefully wrapped. But the real innovation was in the packaging. Wax paper was chosen for its waterproof, lightweight, and cheap qualities. The inner box was wax-coated, and individual items were wrapped in wax paper, shielding food from rain, mud, and river crossings. This double layer of protection kept meals edible in the harshest conditions. Wax paper was never meant to be more than packaging. Yet, in the hands of soldiers, it became much more than trash. The military saw it as disposable, but the troops saw its hidden value. Soon, the wrapper was as prized as the meal itself. On the front lines, improvisation was survival. Wax paper, meant for food, became a multi-purpose tool. Soldiers wrapped matches, letters and maps in wax paper to keep them dry, crucial when a wet match could mean freezing to death. They stuffed crumpled sheets into boots and jackets for extra insulation, a small defence against frostbite. This wasn't taught in manuals. It was shared soldier to soldier, a quiet tradition of battlefield wisdom. Veterans showed newcomers how to use wax paper to line helmets or protect spare socks. What was meant to be garbage became essential gear. The ingenuity of soldiers turned wax paper into a survival kit staple. It was a testament to making do with what you had. In war, necessity breeds creativity. Wax paper was proof. Wax paper's most surprising use? Fire. In wet, miserable conditions, dry tinder was rare, but wax paper, even after rain, stayed flammable. Soldiers used it to start fires for warmth, light, and boiling water. Twisted into a roll, it became a makeshift candle, enough to read a map or write home in a dark foxhole. This simple trick spread quickly among troops. Wax paper became the go-to fire starter from Normandy to the Pacific. It brought comfort and a sense of normalcy in the darkest moments. The military provided food, but soldiers found warmth and light in the wrapper. Sometimes survival is about seeing the hidden potential in the ordinary. Wax paper was a quiet victory over the elements. In POW camps, wax paper became a lifeline. Red Cross parcels sometimes included items wrapped in it. Suddenly, this paper was as valuable as gold. Prisoners melted wax paper to fuel makeshift lamps, bringing precious light to dark barracks. Others patched clothing and blankets, melting the edges to create waterproof seals against rain and wind. These small acts of ingenuity meant warmth, light, and hope in the bleakest conditions. Wax paper was traded, hoarded, and treasured. It was no longer just a wrapper, it was survival. In the hands of the desperate, it became a tool of resilience. The stories of POWs show how even scraps can mean the difference between despair and endurance. Wax paper was a symbol of defiance and the will to live. In the darkest places, it shone brightest. The Pacific jungle was a different kind of battlefield, hot, wet, and relentless. Here, wax paper was a soldier's best defense against the elements. Everything was damp uniforms, gear, even spirits. Wax paper kept matches, tobacco, and letters dry, sometimes the only link to home. A dry match could mean safe drinking water or a hot meal. Fire was hard to start in the rainforest, but wax paper made it possible. Soldiers used it to ignite fires for boiling water, cooking, and signalling. Medics wrapped bandages and sulfur powder in wax paper to keep them sterile. Radios and electronics were shielded from humidity with extra layers of wax paper. In the jungle, these small acts of preservation were crucial. Wax paper protected both men and machines. It was a simple solution to a hostile environment. Sometimes survival depended on a single sheet. Despite its value, wax paper was never officially recognized as survival gear. No manuals mentioned its uses beyond food protection. The military saw it as trash, not a tool. Yet soldiers on the ground knew better. Knowledge of wax paper's uses spread informally, passed from veteran to rookie. This folk wisdom rarely reached the top brass. The gap between official doctrine and field reality was wide. Soldiers innovated out of necessity, not instruction. The military provided the material, the troops provided the genius. Wax paper's story is a classic case of bottom-up innovation. Wax paper's story is a lesson in resourcefulness. Soldiers saw a wrapper and imagined a candle, a pouch, insulation. They turned a single-use item into a tool that saved lives. History is full of ordinary items used in extraordinary ways. Wax paper reminds us that value is found in imagination. The legacy of wax paper is about celebrating creative thinking. The ordinary can be extraordinary if you know how to see it. The forgotten story of wax paper offers practical lessons for today. Our world is complex and fragile. Self-reliance and adaptability are more important than ever. The first lesson: awareness. Look at everyday objects and imagine their alternative uses. The second simple knowledge. Know the basics. Wax is waterproof and flammable. Learn core survival skills: purifying water, building shelter, starting a fire. These principles matter more than any single tool. Finally, seek out hidden stories of ingenuity from the past. They honor resilience and arm us with wisdom. The challenges of survival haven't changed. Staying warm, dry and hydrated is timeless. Wax paper, a hero of the foxholes, reminds us that creativity and knowledge are our best defences. In the end, it's not what you have, but how you use it that matters most.